You have a roster now.
How we doing, guys?
Good. You start by talking about the club's response to the suspension of Robert Quinn, and his agent came out and made a very detailed and forceful statement, and your comment on that as well.
Yeah, we were aware of the situation, obviously, and we found out about the suspension officially today, and we support Robert Quinn. We trust Robert Quinn. We really like everything he's done for our team since he's been here. We're excited about his future with our team. His agent did come out with a long explanation of those circumstances. I don't want to make any comment on that beyond the fact that we trust Robert Quinn and we're going to support him 100%, and we can't wait to get him back.
When were you first aware of this potentially being an issue?
I don't know, in the last few weeks. I don't know.
How does that impact roster structure as you guys go along, get closer to the 53?
I can't tell you specifically how it does. You know, we haven't played a game yet, so we're going to see a lot of these young guys that we have at all positions, certainly on the defensive line, and just see how the competition plays out. We're excited about the frontline guys that we have. We're excited about the depth that we have on the defensive line. We've tried to very deliberately build it over the last few years, and I think we've done a good job of that. You haven't seen a lot of the veteran players out here yet. DeMarcus Lawrence coming back off of an injury, as is Tyrone Crawford and some other guys. But, we like the group of guys that we have, and we'll have competition here over the next 3 or 4 weeks to see who's part of our team and what their roles are.
What are you looking at with Crawford as far as him being able to work back into practice?
Probably don't anticipate him practicing next week, and hopefully he'll start practicing once we get back to Dallas. I don't want to say that definitively. We'll take a situation day by day, but that's the tentative plan right now.
This is the sixth consecutive season that you've had a defender suspended to start the season. Just your overall comments on this. I mean, this has clearly been a recurring issue on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I don't want to comment too much on that. I mean, there's specific circumstances involved with each guy that are different from the others, and obviously it's not something we want for our football team. We want all our players ready to go and ready to play, but then we have to respond the right way, and we intend to do that with Robert's situation.
Could you see him? He is eligible to practice. Could you see him doing that at all, or do you think he's going to kind of be starting from scratch when week 3 rolls around?
Yeah, as you know, he also has the finger issue that he just went to get taken care of yesterday. So he'll come back here on Sunday, and we'll start working him out. I don't anticipate him involved in team drills right away as he's coming back from that injury, but he'll be working on the side and work his way back into it. He has to continue to prepare to play, and then we'll go through those first couple of weeks and get him back in week 3.
How concerned are you now that you might not have your main people back on the D-line for the Giants game week 1?
Yeah, I think we're way ahead of ourselves. We haven't played our first preseason game yet, so we have a plan for the guys who have been out. They're ahead of schedule. They've worked very hard. They've really. Sorry, we had a fire back there. You okay? So each of those guys has worked very hard. They're on schedule to get back and start to play football for us. And so excited to see some young guys play, and then excited to get some veteran guys back in it. I'm serious. There was a fire back there, guys.
It's okay. His name is Smokey.
His name is Smokey. So.
Oh, I know.
Getting that chili ready.
Travis Frederick and not having played obviously in a year, how important is preseason game action for him?
Oh, I think it's important. I think it's important for anybody. Most of our guys haven't played a game since the middle of January. So guys got to get acclimated to playing football again. We go through a progression in OTAs and minicamp and throughout the course of training camp to take it step by step. And the next step for most of our players is to play in the preseason so they can get in some real game action and get that experience under their belt regardless of how much football they've played in the past.
How's Travis done? He's done a little bit of the one-on-one work so far?
Yeah, Travis has done a really good job. He really has. He's taken really the majority of the first team reps. He has been part of that group where every so often he's going to get a day off, but he's handled that really well. And he comes to work every day. It's great to have him back in the middle of that offensive line, and worked very hard to get back to this point. He's off to a really good start in camp.
Is it as easy as saying this is as healthy as Malik Collins has ever been as to why he's playing so well, or is there?
Well, he's certainly been healthy, and he's done an excellent job. Excellent job in the offseason, off to a really good start here in training camp. And he's just been a good player for us. And you said it, the biggest issue with him throughout his career is he hasn't been able to maintain his health. And he's been in and out of the lineup as a result of that. But off to a really good start and playing very well.
How's Joe Jackson look? I mean, it's like
Joe's done a very good job. Young player, learning every day. Still has a long way to go, but he certainly has shown up. And one thing we knew about Joe coming out of school is he loved to play football, and he's tough. And I think we've seen that. He's learning the techniques. He's becoming more and more comfortable with what we're asking him to do, and he showed up very favorably. Did a nice job in the blue-white scrimmage. He's had a good week of practice so far.
Jason, what's your advice to the rookies when they play on Saturday, the first time they're going to be, on how to not be too anxious, too nervous in that kind of moment? Or is that impossible? They're just going to be anxious?
Yeah, certainly it's an exciting time for them. They're going to go into the locker room, and there's going to be a locker with their name over it. And there's going to have a jersey with their name on the back of it. And if you really reflect back on the things you want to do with your life, oftentimes you're 6, 7, 8 years old and you say, I want to be a pro football player. And now you have an opportunity to be that. And you get that when you're here at training camp in a locker room here and you go out to practice. But when you go to an NFL stadium for the first time and you walk into that locker room, you say, wow, this is it. I'm putting on a real NFL uniform and we're playing an NFL game. So it's an exciting time for them. It's the culmination of a lot of hard work and the dreams they've had for their whole life. Now, the trick to the whole thing is you have to kind of process all that, take a deep breath and say, now let's get back to work. Let's recreate a practice experience. Let's trust my teaching, trust my training, trust my techniques, and go play. Play the way I played in high school and college and in the NFL up to this point, and rely on that and get as comfortable as you can. Dig your feet in the ground and go play as well as you can play as hard as you can, and have some fun doing it.
You talked about this before. Your first preseason game, is it still vivid in your mind? Do you consider it significant when you look back, or what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, it's vivid in my mind, and that's a long time ago. And those are important experiences in your life. I remember my first college start, my first high school start. I remember the CYO championship in 8th grade. St. Anne's getting after Incarnate Word. And, those are big things. And our players have those same experiences. And, you can rely on those. You're a different person. You're a different player now than you were then. But in so many ways, you're a culmination of the experiences you've had. Good experiences and challenging experiences. And hopefully you can use all those to go perform at the highest level.
We had an 8th grade championship?
We did.
Witten was the guy that
They ran the single wing. Incarnate Word ran the single wing. Do you know that? St. Anne's Sabres were ready.
Witten has been a guy that's been on the, every day or every other day, get a day off, whatever. He's now practiced 3 straight days in pads. Why does the switch with him, or do you view it as such?
Yeah, again, we take each player, their situation independently, and we have a plan going in. We get feedback along the way. We anticipate future workload, and we try to put it all together and make the best decision. So today was a really light practice, and we just thought it would be good work for him today, and did a nice job.
This is a question for you every year in preseason games, as far as what you're going to show offensively versus just letting guys, so you can assess them. But in a year like this, where you're doing a few different things with motion, and it's a little different than what you've done, how do you wrestle with how much of that do you actually show in the preseason, and how much of it do we just work on out here to keep off a tape until we get to?
Yeah, I think all that stuff applies to all parts of your team every year, and I think the biggest thing we try to do is create an environment for our players where they can go be comfortable running stuff. We don't game plan for these games. We don't overly engineer what we're doing in any phase of our team. The biggest thing you want to do is create an environment for your players to go play, where they can play decisively, and that applies to your veteran players, but that certainly applies to the younger guys. And you want to give them an opportunity to do some things that they know so we can evaluate them the right way. So that really won't change, based on any coaching situation that we have. We'll continue to try to grow offensively, defensively in the kicking game out here, and then use these game experiences to evaluate guys and hopefully continue to get better as a team.
Speaking of the rookie talk, what would you like to see out of Pollard Saturday night?
Oh, I think just what we want to see out of our whole football team. You want to see a guy take the work that he's done in practice and take it to the game. And we want each of the units to execute ball plays and play the right way. And we certainly want that from individual players as well.
The guys that have not practiced here for a while, will they make the trip with y'all to San Francisco, or they stay here for treatment?
Many of them will not make the trip to San Francisco. They'll get a chance to work here the next 3 days with our strength staff and some trainers. So we think that's probably best for them to help them come back as quickly as possible.
You said many. Is a guy like Sean and Zach, Amari, veterans, are they guys that would stay here or would make the trip?
We'll give you that travel itinerary in the manifesto when we get that all squared away. I think it's a manifest.
Manifesto we're going to need to know about that.
Yeah, the fire's got me off balance here a little bit.
Thanks, guys.
That's a good ender.
Garrett Manifesto.